represent a portion of Albuquerque, and I'm also a retired high school and middle school math teacher, and I believe in our kids, that they are very important. And that's why I do what I do. I'm going to discuss setbacks for schools in New Mexico. During our 2024 session, I had a House Bill 32, which would have established a 1-mile buffer zone between schools and oil and gas wells. The bill did not make it to the governor's call, or it came in late in the session, so it was not heard. But why do we need setbacks in New Mexico? In New Mexico, our children are at risk. There are over 32,000 children attending schools within a mile of an oil and gas extraction site. Over 80 schools in northwestern New Mexico, or the San Juan Basin, and the southeastern New Mexico, the Permian Basin, are within 1 mile of the oil and gas well. Some schools are surrounded by dozens and even hundreds of wells within a single mile. In northwestern New Mexico, all schools in the Farmington, Aztec, and Bloomfield School District have active wells within 1 mile. In southeastern New Mexico, all schools in the Eunice School District have over 120 wells within a mile. The Jefferson Elementary School in Hobbs is surrounded by 153 wells within 1 mile and 59 wells within half a mile. We know we have a problem, and as legislators, it is our job to fix it. We know the gas and oil production emits methane, CO2, and other toxic air pollutions that can travel well over a mile. We know that living near oil and gas wells increases the risk of cancer, asthma, and upper respiratory problems. But children are particularly vulnerable to oil and gas pollution because their bodies are still developing, exacerbating respiratory disease and leading to reduced lung function, increased asthma, neurodevelopment, IQ loss, and pediatric cancer. House Bill 32 was one of the first steps to protecting New Mexico's children. In the 2025 session, we will have a bill to implement a 1-mile health buffer zone around schools. In New Mexico, we are currently in what's called the interim session. It runs from April to December. And this is where we go around the whole state looking at communities and seeing what they need. We will be presenting, I've asked to present about gas and oil setbacks. And we're actually doing it in the Legislative Finance Committee, which is our money committee, which has not heard anything in this topic ever. So this is a big deal that we will be talking about setbacks. In addition, I asked to have a field trip so that our legislative members can tour the oil field facilities in the Carlsbad area in the Permian Basin. And during our tour, legislators would have firsthand see the impacts of oil and gas development. We will also have certified thermographer providing legislators the opportunity to view oil and gas emissions through the optical gas imaging cameras, because we know venting and flaring, which is only supposed to be used in emergencies, is happening all over New Mexico. The Permian Basin has one of the highest levels of premature deaths in the United States from flaring caused black carbon. And current analysis estimates that New Mexico's oil and gas companies emit over 1.1 million metric tons of methane annually, which has the same short-term climate impacts of 28 million automobiles. This is what our kids are having to live through, just going to school, just doing their job. And in our Constitution, New Mexico, in our Constitution, legislators like me, we have a job to provide and control pollution, control the despoilment of our air, water, and other natural resources in our state. So we have a job, it is our job to do this. We can't just let this billion-dollar industry pollute our land and water and not hold them accountable. New Mexico has a methane rule. We have an Air Quality Act that are not being followed by the oil and gas industry. Oil and gas extraction has pushed air pollution levels so high in the Permian Basin that it is now violating federal smog standards. So for next session, we will have the 1-mile setback for our health public zones for our schools. And something I'm proposing this year for the session is that I'm working with nonprofits to look at what the impact would be of a ban or a pause on fracking in areas that are out of compliance with federal health standards. So again, a ban or a pause in areas that are out of compliance with federal health standards. To do this, it'll take money, funding for MNERD and ED for inspections and compliance. But it's time that we stand up to the gas and oil and take our state back when it comes to the health and safety of our kids that live in the San Juan and Permian Basin.